Hi, I'm Chuck Fishbein, and welcome to Shoot Like a Pro. Whether you're working for a large production company or you're out shooting for yourself, at some point you're going to be filming an interview. Regardless of the subject matter or what type of camera you're using, there are some time-proven techniques that you can use as a starting point, even if you decide to totally ignore them later. And you can apply these basic techniques regardless of the type of lighting you're using. As with anything in video production, a little bit of advanced preparation might make the difference between an ordinary talking head and a great-looking interview. You can shoot a decent-looking interview with almost any camera, but the best, most consistent results will come from a camera that will allow you to control the settings manually, as automatic cameras can easily be fooled by extremely bright or dark backgrounds. How often have you been told, "We have the perfect spot to do all our interviews," only to learn that the perfect spot is a dull, gray conference room filled with a giant wooden table and an air conditioner that sounds like a tornado? Perhaps you've been asked to interview a horn player at a jazz club, or maybe you're conducting an interview at an outdoor event. Each of these situations propose an interesting challenge, and it's expected that as a professional camera operator, you'll be up to meet and solve those challenges. Let's start with the basics. I like to keep my key light, or main light, soft by using a softbox or a wide diffused light source. This will be more complementary than a small, hard light. If the interview is to be off-camera, meaning the subject will be talking to the interviewer, I place the interviewer's chair between the camera and the key light. Then, as the subject turns towards the interviewer, the key light will be in the correct position to fully light their face. By elevating the light higher than the subject, I am now intentionally creating a slight shadow below the face, which will reduce, if not disguise, a double chin. Setting up your lights this way will leave the opposite side of the face relatively dark, and I can then add a less powerful fill light or simply a white card or reflector to fill in the missing light. Avoid making the fill light too bright, or it'll give your subject a flat, washed out look. Once I have my main light and fill in place, I can add additional highlights to my subject's hair, shoulders, side, or background as needed. Often just a small amount of light provides the perfect accent to your image. Once you have this set up as a starting point, you can easily move it around to suit your needs. For example, you might want to limit the backlight to the subject's shoulders if they have thinning hair, or lower your key light slightly for someone with deep-set eyes. Make sure to have a few basic shades of light and dark face powder and blotter paper in your kit to reduce the shine on your talent's face. Unless your intention is to have your subject in silhouette, avoid positioning them in front of a bright window or doorway. You'd need a very bright light source to compete with daylight. This may sound basic, but it's a very common mistake. In an office situation where you might not be able to avoid windows, make them work for you by positioning your subject so the light is hitting them from the side. Then all that might be required is a simple reflector. Closing the blinds behind your subject will also help control the lighting. If you want to see through the window behind your subject, bring along a roll of easily applied neutral density gel. ND gel will not only cut down the window light by as much as 4 stops, it can also be used to convert window light to an indoor white balance that'll match your lighting. If you're shooting in a conference room, try to maximize whatever the room has to offer. If it's a long room with a large table, position yourself to get the most depth from the room, allowing your background to go darker and add a focus a bit. This will keep the viewer focused on your talent rather than on any distracting elements in the room. I like to reduce my depth of field to help soften my background, which helps keep the viewer focused on my subject. To do this, I set my lens at the widest aperture and adjust my shutter speed, gain, and lighting accordingly. At the same time, I don't want my focus to be so shallow that the subject's nose and ears go soft when I'm focused on their eyes, so adjust accordingly. Working at the long end of a zoom lens will also help reduce the sharpness of your background and create a more comfortable working distance for your talent. And remember, filming someone's face is not always the best time to prove how sharp your lenses are. And a slight diffusion filter, like a quarter black pro mist, will take the edge off a subject with challenged skin. Even if you don't normally bring along backdrops, consider making a large piece of black cloth a regular accessory in your kit. just in case your perfect spot turns out to be smaller or less attractive than you might like. That same cloth may come in handy when you're trying to block out some unwanted light from your shooting area. As an alternative, you can intentionally include the activity of your surroundings and create a more natural interview. When filming an interview outdoors, try to find an area that has soft, filtered lighting. When time permits, I like to set up a diffuser or sail to soften the light falling on the talent. I keep the sun to the side or even slightly behind my subject, mainly to keep them from squinting. Then, I'll fill in the shadow areas on their face with a small silver reflector or even an on-camera light. Again, by utilizing your camera's internal ND filters or an easily obtained add-on filter, you can reduce the exposure and allow for a softer background focus. Hone your lighting skills on your friends and family, and you'll be ready to tackle the most challenging setups in no time. If you have any additional questions or comments, please contact me at the address on the screen, and I'll do my best to answer them. Until next time, I'm Chuck Fishbein. Keep shooting.